What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video. So in today's video is going to be a Bookmap masterclass on one of my favorite top reversal setups. I'm going to be covering everything from, how I use it for entries, how I use it for targets, what patterns that I look for in the Bookmap, how to read the buyers, how to read the sellers, how to read the offers and the bids, as I've had some people requested it to me already to go a little bit more in detail on the setups that I use for Bookmap, how to read it more efficiently. So this is going to be the first video of a Bookmap series where I'll be covering, all types of setups that I look for and all my favorite kind of trades, basically using the Bookmap. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we get into the Bookmap, let me just show you the analysis of this trade real quick, as I think it's always important to understand the context of the market and also the location that we're at. So here, for example, we could see we had a lot of resistance, and this level was resistance over here, then it broke, got retested, so it got respected already, on this side of the market and also on a break and a retest. Then it broke once again and didn't really have a retest. So then all I was looking for basically on this level was either a rejection of this level or again a strong breakout and then a retest of this. So as price moved into this level very aggressively, which is also what I like to see, that price moves very aggressively into my level, which usually shows me a lot of volatility, and then I study the Bookmap in this area. And this was basically the trade entry at the 42s with a 4-point stop loss and targets. Well, I don't really use the candlestick charts too much for targets. Yes, you could have marked pre-market highs, which would have been a decent target, just a smaller risk to reward trade. But I mainly use the Bookmap for targets. As price really reacts to bids and offers all the time. So for me, it's just most common sense to use the Bookmap and squeeze the most out of my entry. As you can see, price did go a little bit further. As you can see, it did go all the way down to the 14s, which is a lot further. Still 11 points lower than my target, but still my trade was a little over 4R. And yes, I do take some partials along the way. I usually take partials on the first bid that I would see here, which is around 2R of my trade, and I take about half off, so I secure 1R in this trade already. And then if it goes to break even, well, at least I got 1R. And my next target obviously is usually between 3 to 5R. This is the average. So we're taking partials. This for maybe ends up being like 3 or just a bit over 3R in total. So now you know the location and the context of the market. Let's dive into the Bookmap and show you guys what I was looking for. So here on the Bookmap we have price entering our level. As you can see, we're at the 38s, and this level right here was at almost at the 42, so we're almost in our level of interest. Just click on play and speed it up a little bit so you guys don't have to wait too much. So there we go, we just entered our level now. Let's slow it down. And now all what I really like to see already, slow it down even more, is we see this lot of heavy buying, right? While price is entering our area of interest. You can see the price was moving upwards, but not very aggressively, with minor pullbacks. Not all of a sudden, when it approaches this level of interest, a lot of aggressive buyers stepped in and they pushed the price very quickly upwards, and they couldn't go further. Okay, something here around the 43s, almost at the 44s, it stopped. Okay, price couldn't push further, so this is already a first good sign. Now, second good sign already that we see is aggressive selling stepped in and had a reaction to the downside. This is the first reaction. Okay, what I really like to see on Bookmap is I like to see an area of consolidation with then a move to the downside, and then I would mark out this level of consolidation, because the Bookmap, my best setups I would say is from areas of consolidation on the Bookmap, so where you can see buyers and sellers are fighting, and then all of a sudden a drop comes to the downside. Then I would mark out this area of consolidation as we're seeing here. Because here, for example, we just see a push to the upside and then immediately move to the downside. Okay, there's no range that I can draw that I'm interested in. But if we would see consolidation followed by a move to the downside, I would mark out this range of consolidation. So let's speed it up a little bit because it's already looking pretty decent to me. You can see we have this area of consolidation with a move to the downside, break of structure. So what I would do is I would mark out this area of consolidation, and then I would just wait for price to return to this area. And also what's nice to see and a good thing to do on the Bookmap is to zoom out sometimes. Okay, this goes really quick while you're trading. So we know we have this range of consolidation in our area of interest with a move to the downside, which is good. We had a lot of aggressive buying that couldn't go any further, followed by aggressive selling. First reaction to the downside, which is another good sign. Then we had this consolidation and a move to the downside. But if you zoom out, you can see how heavy the buying was right here at the top, and it just couldn't go any further, which is a great sign. And then a lot of aggressive selling is followed, okay, by this aggressive buying. So this looks really good, even on a zoomed in perspective and also on a zoomed out perspective. We see a lot of aggressive selling. Okay, so now all we need to do is wait for price to retrace into our level. And then we need to see either failing pops to the upside. So heavy buying at the top that can't go any further, such as here, once, twice, and maybe I'll enter on a retrace. Or you can also see pops with weaker buying every time, and then you can already enter with on these pops with weaker buying. Okay, so let's see when price comes back to our area. Price is stalling a little bit now. Let's see if it comes back. Speed it up a little bit. There we go. We had a first aggressive reaction into our area of interest. And here you can see a lot of heavy buying, right? A lot of heavy buying, and it failed immediately. Right? A lot of heavy buying, it failed. Heavy buying, and it failed. I usually, for entries, like to have a 30-second interval. I think it's pretty decent. If I'm zoomed in too much, it gets a little bit cluttery to me. I see too many bubbles. Yes, there are filters here to have less cluster on the chart, but I kind of like my settings that I have right now. So we see a lot of heavy buying that can't go any further. It failed already. Let's see if we get another failed pop here, which would be good. And to be honest, like these are all already like good entries where you see aggressive selling. You could enter here. Personally, I just like to wait a little bit more and really see this pattern of the failed pop, maybe another failed pop, and then I'll enter on a retrace. It just feels a bit safer to me. I don't like to be, the first seller in this area. Here we see another pop with heavy buying. We still see heavy buying here. We see some weaker buying here. This already could be also another entry. I still would wait for this, to be honest. I'd like to see a little move to the downside first and maybe again a retrace because we already had two failed pops now. And as you can see, we had heavy buying here, and then at the top we had weaker buying. Okay, so if you move around between the zoom in and the zoom out, you can see how weak the buying was here at the top, which is a great sign. So for me, to be honest, any retrace now that I would see, I would just click. Okay, we already had two failed pops in this area of consolidation with a lot of heavy selling, moved to the downside, failed heavy buying over here in our level, failed heavy buying here, and then followed by aggressive pops with weaker buying that failed already two times. So any retrace that we have right now, this would be A plus setup for me. I would definitely enter, and as you can see, an offer popped up here at 42s, which is also good to see. So let's see what happens here. There we have another one, another pop, and here basically is where I would click. Okay, so we already had two failed pops, and we had this offer here that got filled. As you can see, this offer was 89 contracts, and everything is pretty decent, to be honest. This is a third pop now, again with heavy buying, but since we already had these two pops, we had a retrace, I would just click enter already. And yes, you can wait for aggressive selling to step in first. You can enter maybe near here now or here. Then you just would need a wider stop loss. But I would be entering right here at the 42s. We have another pop with weaker buying again. Another pop here with weaker buying and aggressive selling. You can enter here, 41s. These are all great entries. Just make sure your stop loss, give it a little bit of room, 3-4 points. I would use 4 points in this scenario. I'm not a fan of too tight stop losses, and I've been more profitable since I made my stop loss just a little bit bigger. And with a bit bigger, I just mean 1 or 2 points. And as you can see, selling is really stepping in right now. So all we need to do now is look for targets, and I didn't really see a lot of bids, to be honest, to target. So later on, you'll see some bids popping up here at the 25s. Speed it up a little bit. Here we have some at the 30, 31s, 32s. This is where I would take partials then. And then at the 25s, you can see we had 26, 27, 25s. We had more bits appearing. So I would go all out here around the 30s, 31s on partials. And then I would just let the rest run to the 25s. This trade took a little longer than usual. Usually my trades are between, I'd say, 3 to 10 minutes, the usual, but it can happen that a trade takes 20 minutes to play out. It can happen. As long as I can go break even, I'm fine with how long the trade takes. And obviously with an entry at the 42s and a drop to the 34s, 33s, even here further, my stop loss would be at break even already, since I really caught the high of this move. My stop loss would be right here at the 42. So this is a nice move to the downside. So you can see this bid right here at the 32s, 31s is still there. So this is where I would take partials. Speed it up a little bit. Price retracing a little bit, consolidating as well. Sometimes you just have to be patient. You can just trust your analysis and trust your entry, trust your trade. But as long as your stop loss at break even, should be fine. So here's where I would take partials. Once this bid gets filled, it's really having a hard time to go to the 31s and get another retrace. And finally, we're there. Partials taken. And now just let the rest run to the 25s. As you can see, this bid is staying right here. We had another one at 27, 26, and that disappeared. So I'll just leave my full target here at the 25s. And now just waiting until price hits that level. We're almost there. And there we go, full target hit. Okay, so as you can see, this trade took a little while. We entered around here. We got fully out around here. So 22, 23 minutes of a trade, so a bit on the longer side. But for me, the main thing is that I can go break even quick. Then obviously it's a safe trade. Then all you need to do is just wait for your targets to get hit. And usually, I would say, once I enter a trade, the bids, in this case of a sell scenario, are already there on the chart. There wasn't anything, and then they just popped up later as price was moving down. So I didn't really have a target when I clicked entry over here, when I clicked sell. So then I would just analyze the Bookmap and see where the bids are popping up, and then I would just adjust my targets accordingly and decide where to take partials and where to take a full take profit. So let's do a little recap of this. We had our area of interest here, our resistance level right here. And all we need to do is wait for price to enter the level. We saw a lot of heavy buying that couldn't go any further with the reaction to the downside with aggressive selling. We finally saw an area of consolidation with a move to the downside. I mark out this area of consolidation and I wait for price to retrace and show failed pops. So here you can see a lot of heavy buying. It failed, a lot of heavy buying with weaker buying at the top at both pops, and it failed. And then on a retrace, this is where I decided to enter at the 42s. You honestly can wait if you want to. Obviously, I've taken so many trades now using the Bookmap that I've seen this pattern over and over again. It's a double top, two failed pops, wait for a retrace, wait for weaker buying. As you can see right here, there's weaker buying. And in the beginning of using the Bookmap, I would always wait to see aggressive selling first. So my entries would be over here at the 40s, maybe 39.50s in the beginning, with a wider stop loss, so that would skew my risk to reward. But after seeing this pattern happen so many times of failed pops and then just a retrace with weaker buying, I just click sell, to be honest. And this is a great pattern. I have a smaller stop loss than if I would enter here, so I have a better risk to reward. Okay, so it's important not to jump the gun and not enter too early. This is a mistake I've done as well in the past, just entering too early, really believing that this level will hold. And we're never going to know that for sure. We need to see a proper confirmation as well. And it's all about context of the market. Is it balanced? Is it trending, uptrending or downtrending? Then it's also about the location in the market, and then also the confirmation. So, this is really important to have these three understood properly, and, believe that not every level will respect the way you want it to respect. So you need to see proper confirmation first, because if buyers would be too aggressive here and there wouldn't be any move to the downside, and buyers might be stronger in this area of interest, so then it would be quite stupid to just force a sell just because you believe this level will have to work out and the market has to drop from this level. So it's important to really read the book map properly and wait for the setup. Just have some patience, don't jump the gun too early. So to make a little recap: heavy buying, couldn't go any further, followed by heavy selling, consolidation, move to the downside, break or structure to the downside with aggressive selling. We wait for price to retrace, see if one failed pop, another failed pop, and then here on the retrace, after two failed pops, I'm willing to put my money on the table, risk it with a 3 or 4 point stop loss, which is more than enough, and then just wait for your trade to play out and adjust your targets according to the bids that you see here on the book map. Obviously, you can use a candlestick chart to look for targets. I personally use the book map as well for my targets. I don't really look at the candlestick, since price, as you can see, reacts always to bids and to offers in the market. So whatever risk to reward you're happy with, or also depending on the conditions of the market, is it high volatility? Is it in the balanced range? Is it uptrending or downtrending? You can go for bigger or for smaller targets. Okay, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was valuable to you. If you have any questions about this setup, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll get back to you. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.